Well, I agree with Mikhail Borisovich, because that is the reality picture. I was talking something similar in the morning. No, because really, if you look into the numbers, I will repeat, the same numbers. Russia spent, I was saying, more than 100, so Mikhail Borisovich said 120 billion euros last year. If you look into public numbers, how much Ukraine, was able to spend, it was 80 billion with all Western support last year. Okay, now we have American package. I don't know, for how long it will cover. I don't know what Europe will do. What I was saying, in the morning, I said we need to have a plan. If not, then our support from EU, which is based on individual countries' support, really will not be enough. We need to move into some kind of collective decisions. I said, very clearly, we need to ensure that this year the Western support will be not 40 billion, the combined support from US and EU like it was last year. It needs to be not less than 100 billion euros. Then we can add, 40 billion from Ukraine, and we can see in some way, balance and maybe possibility of Ukraine to start to prevail. If not, then really Mikhail Borisovich is absolutely right. What will happen? Do we have such kind of, political will? Well, we did not so bad during last 2 years, more than we were able to expect from EU before the war. But as I said, the numbers now are showing that it's not enough. And here we come to really role of Germany. Europe needs to have, leadership. I was talking in the morning about, 5 lessons from, Second World War. I will not repeat, but if I am, trying to compare this situation, which for me it looks like that, we're not far away from the same situation like Second World War. So I said 5, there are 5 lessons like Munich, why not to repeat the Munich peace agreement, what it brought, how we need to have anti-Putin coalition, not just, pro-Ukraine coalition, but anti-Putin coalition, why we need to have, victory plan like Americans had, why we need to have a clear goal of the war, like it was set in Casablanca, by Roosevelt and Churchill, when they said that, the goal is unconditional defeat of Hitler. We need to have the same with Putin. And then, plan for Marshall. Well, first of all, Morgenthau, which was not very good, but then, it moved into Marshall Plan for Germany after the war. Everything is, exactly what is needed now. But in addition to that, I forgot to mention one additional lesson. The West, in Second World War, had, at least 2 leaders, Roosevelt and Churchill. Mm. I would be very happy to see Germany producing, something like Churchill. It would be much better than French products in that area. So that's my wish, Now, what is needed? If I may, what is needed? First of all, we as the West, and maybe Germany can do that, we need to convince ourselves that our economy is 25 times stronger than Russian economy. It looks like that we are forgetting. We're speaking how strong is Russia, how strong and strong, but we are much stronger. I said why we are not, mobilizing ourselves to support Ukraine as much as it is needed. From my point of view, 2 reasons. One is that we allowed, ourselves to be arrested by 2 fears: fear of escalation and fear of Russia. If Russia will be defeated, Putin will collapse. Something very bad will happen with Russia, even worse than Russia is today, because quite many of us we do not believe that Russia can be different. And that is again, I would say, what is very much needed from Germany and as a leader, with maybe coalition of like-minded countries. Baltics are, well, at least, well, I am ready. I am not in the government, but I am ready to be in that like-minded coalition. We need to convince ourselves that Russia can be different. And we have an obligation to assist Russia to become different. And that comes with Ukraine victory. Ukraine victory as a trigger, And that is why I was saying, we need to have two bold strategies. One grand strategy for political, transformation or reconstruction of eastern part of Europe, including Russia and Belarus. And second, our strategy towards Ukraine. And those are interconnected. Because if we shall not see such a perspective that, Russia can be different, then we always will stay afraid of, well, how not to provoke Putin and so on, because we do not believe that Russia can be different. And that is, some kind of, this...
vicious circle.
Yeah, vicious circle, So we need to see very clearly, that this is our goal. We want, not just Russians want to have different Russia, Russian opposition and civil society. But it's very much needed for us. Because this is the only way how we can have sustainable peace on European continent. And I slightly would try to speak a little bit in a different way if to compare with Ambassador. Well, at least my thinking is that we have very strong interest in Russia. It's not that, well, Russia is Russia, forget about Russia. What they will do, it's their business. We are, we shall live on ourselves. I feel that interest, well, strategic interest, to look for possibilities how to assist Russia to become different. Why? Because this is our security question. Yes, we need to build, NATO capabilities. We need to build our own defense capabilities. When Russia is as it is now with Putin, aggressive Russia. But, I think that Putin made a huge mistake with his aggression, against Ukraine, because that is opening in some way window of opportunity for us to look into possibility of, how to assist Russia to become different. With Ukraine victory, with Ukraine strategy. And, I'm always, well, saying that, look, we want to have good relations with Russia, but that depends only on one condition. If Russia is becoming a normal country. Why we want that? Because our historical experience is very simple. During the last, how many years? From 1600. During the last
400 years.
400 years. When we had, bad relations with Russia, we were suffering. The last time when Russia was suffering, when we both together, Lithuanians and Poles, Grand Duchy, we sent, false Dmitry to Kremlin, we occupied, and then they kicked us out, and after that, we were suffering. We were occupied, sent to Siberia, and so on and so on. So that's our interest, to have different Russia. And, and that is why, again, I would expect from Germany, also to have some kind of mindset on, strategic approach, first of all. It's really, what I am becoming tired of, not of the war as it is, when somebody is saying, well, here is fatigue of the war and so on. Not at all, but I am becoming, tired of this, like you, Ralph, have said, muddling through. No strategy, suddenly it appears for us that Ukraine has lack of, artillery shells. What does it mean? How you can win the war if you even don't know, what is the situation? It's, so we need to have strategy. And I would say double sort of strategy. One, we need to have defense and military strategy against, Russian aggression. How to push Russia from military point of view out from Ukraine. But second, we need to have what I call politically offensive strategy. How to assist a Russian change. What does it mean, Russian change? How to get rid of Putin regime. Of course, it's not, we shall not send tanks, into Russia. But, Ukrainian victory, Ukrainian success with or Atlantic integration, and so on and so on. Those are elements which depend only on us. This is what we can do, and that can have major influence on developments in Russia. So I conclude here very simply, we need to convince ourselves that we are strong, and then we need to convince ourselves that Russia can be different, and we can achieve that, transformation if we shall convince ourselves that we can help Ukraine to win the war. And we know what is needed.